Everyone, welcome back. Here we are starting voyage number 14 and we're in week 1. So we have one starfish joining us. This is a Discover 1 and that is for a balance of, we're going to try and pay off $4,182 and I believe it's going to be a possible 7-week journey. So we did do a breakdown on what it looks like and it's due by November 3rd. And what we want to try to do is have the minimum of $597.43 a week, or around $600 a week, to be sent towards that voyage to get that completed by that November 13th deadline. So then we'll jump into what the checking account did. We start off with a payroll check of $1,044.11. We sent $44.11 to savings, bringing that down to $1,000. We did a $30 payment to line of credit 1, reducing that to $970. $31.25 went to line of credit 2, and then another $31.25 went to line of credit 3, and that brought that down to $907.50. And then we had that loan 1 where normally we were sending $50 a month, but we only needed $41.28 to finish up that payment. So we just went ahead and put that other $872 into savings. And that got down to a balance of $857.50. And then we did that standard $50 to savings for the week. And that brought us down to $807.50. And then on the gas household bill, it was a round up thing on the checking account where they round up to the nearest dollar and then the change goes to savings. So I just did the $61 right now since the transaction should occur on Monday. And then the change will go into the savings account. So I just did that even dollar amount for the time being. And then the remaining $746.50, I went ahead and put that into a set aside Discover 1 checking account. And so that brings that checking down to $0. So then we look at, actually I'll go ahead and do that set aside account next. So we did that $746.50. And what we did was we took $600 out of that checking and sent it to Discover 1. We also had a balance of a minimum payment of $157 due on that anyway. So that $600 more than covered that amount. So now there's $146.50 in that set aside Discover 1 account. And then for the savings account, we start off with $1,225.60. We added $44.11, which brought us to $1,269.71. And then we had that $8.72 for that loan 1 extra, and that got us to $1,278.43. Then we did our standard $50, and then our balance ending in savings currently is $1,328.43. And then we go ahead and we look at that loan 1, and that is at 5.5%. So on this Friday of September 26th, we finished the monthly payment where $41.28 was due. And actually right here I can probably go ahead and do what actually happened for the month. So we had $191.28 was the actual monthly payment. And then to do some calculating on the side here. So we have, let's see, we have 40 times 3, so 120. And we have the 32. And we have 86, 90, 95, 27. Probably should have located my calculator, but I'm just going to go ahead and just rough add this. And so we have 12, 18, we have 9, 18, 27, 28, 29. Okay, so 298. So 154. 98 went to principal, and then that means we had, let's see, 9 times 4 is 36. So we have 14, 24, 25, so 36.30 went to interest. Probably should put that right there. And that came out to that 191.28 then for that month of September, and that's for the October 1st payment. So that loan number 1 is paid up for October 1st. And then next Friday we'll start off with the whole new monthly payment due on that loan. And then we look at the lines of credits 1, 2, and 3. And that line of credit 1, we start off with $11,865.33. We currently have $134.67 available. The weekly payment is $30, and then we owe $116.23 on October 1st, and that's the monthly payment for that. Line of credit 2 starts off with $12,394.49. Currently have $105.51 available. A weekly payment of $31.25, and that has a monthly payment of $96.45 due. And then, let me cover up those crazy numbers on the side. Line of credit 3 was $11,438.66. Available is $1,061.34. And that we did $31.25 for the weekly payment. And then October 1st has a payment of $112.41 due. So when you combine all the totals, the balances on all 3 lines together comes to $35,698.48. Available is $1,301.52. I believe we'll probably still take the mortgage out of this amount. And then we did a complete weekly payment of $92.50 towards those lines. And then due on October 1st is $325.09. So then we did a breakdown on that line of credit 1. And we had previously been doing it for bills. So right now I think in this Voyage we're just gonna do the minimum payment for the month, and just to get more cushion in these lines of credit. So the line of credit 1, the monthly payment is at $116.23, and that's at 7.5. And then when we sent the payment of $30, we had $17.09 went to interest, and then $12.91 went to principal, and available is $134.67 on that first line. The line of credit 2, $96.45 is what's due, and we're putting the Voyage funds in there, and that's at 6.74. And then we did $31.25 for the payment, and on that amount $16.04 went to interest, and then $15.21 went to principal, and now available is $105.51. Then we look at that line of credit 3, and that also got the $31.25, and on that one $16.47 went to interest, $14.78 to principal, and that ended with $1,061.34 being available. And once again, I said we'll probably take the mortgage out of this on the 1st of the month. So then we start off with the Voyage 14 Discover 1. We started it off at $4,182, and then it's week 1. And then we did go ahead and send $600 towards that Discover 1. We also had a minimum payment of $157 due, so obviously the $600 definitely covers that minimum payment. And so now that Voyage 14 is now a balance of $3,582. And then this next sheet is just the combined voyages all together. I have Voyage 1, and then I did add that Voyage 13C. And so as of now we're at $64,295. And I did not add this week on there, so we'd be at $64,895 when you add the $600 that I sent this week. And then for credit available, we now have it down to the Visa. It has a limit of $10,000, and the updated balance is now $9,757.21. So there's $240.279 available. And the city is at $18,000, and that has a balance of $5,800. So available is $12,200 on that. And then the Discover 1 that we're working on right now, it has a limit of $22,000, a balance of $7,222 since we paid that $600 towards that. And now there's $14,778 available. And I am considering about maybe phasing this one out, but I might do the Visa instead. I'll see how that works out. We'll see how we get to the end of this voyage, and there's one more balance transfer on this one too. So we will start phasing out some of these lines just so we have less stuff to deal with and make payments on, and make life a little bit simpler on that. And so then for September, on September 26th, we did a payment to Discover One of $600, and then we took that out of that set aside checking account. And that looks like all for the updates today. Please like and subscribe to follow my debt journey. If you have any questions or comments, they are very welcome. And the code word for today is banana. So go ahead and put banana in the comments below if you made it all the way through. And then I'll talk to you in the next video. Thank you for joining me. Bye.